There he is. Because it is able to steer in the snag.
Coming over to here.
And the reason for that, I think, is twofold. First of all, then get a full mouthful of feathers. As far as these coming into our area is a ferruginous hawk. This ferruginous hawk is an interesting bird. It is able to eat very quickly, and that way it will reduce the possibility of its predators, such as coyotes and bobcats, to get at.
I don't know, but there she comes. Where is she?
Wherever.
Oh.
So she's already making her way in.
Look at her right now. She's gonna get.
I don't.
It's a little bit of a breeze, so it's a little bit slower, but she's
Her coming in
almost
fast.
here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. You want to hold her, honey?
It's commercially raised. We're not raising anybody's bird feeders, but just like you can order an Angus burger online, you can get any sort of small mammal. And we get it in frozen, thaw it out. Just use tissue meat out here since we have so many folks making it cameras. We don't want mouse showing up in your photos. They do get the whole animal when they go back up because they do it live.
Also, whereas the grey hawk's wing feathers were very stiff, the barn owl's feathers are very soft, and the trailing edge of those feathers have got what we call eyelashes, so that when the barn owl beats its wings, the barn owl has the most acute sense of hearing, and in absolute pitch darkness, the barn owl is going to be able to be successful over 90% of the time. Why does it have to hunt in pitch darkness? Well, you see, the great owl hunts just at dawn and at dusk, so to avoid its chief predator, it hunts in the middle of the night. The next bird we're going to see has devolved a strategy of being able to hunt together, a collaborative hunt. They stick together, and there's only one other species that does this. Here coming into the area is the Harris's hawk, exactly the bird that I was talking about. The species that is able to hunt collaboratively is the Galapagos hawk. But I want you to realize how very precious this is, because typically a raptor will not allow any other raptor into its territory. As you look at these Harris's hawks, notice the colorings. You've got the chocolate-colored bird with the brick red wings. Notice the white rump stripe and also the white eagle, being able to steer accurately, and they're able to develop an explosive tail and make sharp turns.
Oh, here comes one.
Coming in right over your head. These birds are typically recorded.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Wait, there's one more coming.
Lots of water in Arizona at the time. These riparian areas over 90% of these riparian areas. Fortunately, though, they needed to increase the water.
Here they come.
What it is doing now is just going to demonstrate to you how a young Harris's hawk
Oh!
its agility, and they will do that by hunting insects. Notice too that the Harris's hawks are very comfortable on the ground. These Harris's hawks will, as we say, be hunting collaboratively. That means that there has to be a bird in charge. In Raptorland, take a guess. Which is the larger bird, the male or the female? The female, you've got it. She's about 50% heavier than the male in that household. Well, she is the boss bird, and her associate is the alpha male, a lot more agile and is involved more in the hunt. He's got a hunting buddy being the beta male, and then the whole group is going to be rounded out by a series of 3 or 4 immature birds, the so-called gamma crew. It's really only the alpha male.
Whoa!
That is a process called mantling. What it is doing, it's hiding its prey, making sure that, well, you know, these birds.
Oh!
That was scary.
He got in the ear space.
Yeah, and you.
Will very often next to,
Oh, they like you. You're right in the flight path.
and there they will have their wings touching and they'll make a growling play. And when they hunt, that is exciting because the alpha female will then proceed to take up a position on top of a saguaro. And the first question is, how do you land on top of the saguaro? Solution, very careful. What you'll see is they will come up from just below, and as they float onto the top of the saguaro, they will put out their talons and then lower themselves onto the top of the saguaro. Incidentally, height above ground tends to indicate the position in the hierarchy, so you can judge which is the boss bird in this group. Strategy, a bird might see something in the desert, and my heavens, I think they've seen something in the desert, and that would be the pounce strategy.
Here's some.
They've got one of the birds that finds something and is flown right up to the top of the rest of the birds would be working somewhere down at the bottom. And if any fights were to break out, there could be a whole lot of talon locking and a whole lot of squawking, but I want you to be aware that these fights are purely ritual fights. You see, in a family fight, you absolutely do not want to injure a family member because they are so valuable. But this, for you, for your enjoyment,
Oh my gosh.
how fantastic it is that a group of birds can collaborate together to the extent that they are known as the wolf pack of the sky.
Why don't our birds fly away, and how do we train them? To answer both those questions, it's probably best to mention raptor life out in the wild. That's really rough for these guys. About 75% don't make their first year. That's either due to predation, starvation, disease. Maybe these guys can't find shelter or water. So when you afford them those things like we do every day at the museum, they realize it's a pretty sweet gig here, and they don't really want to go anywhere else. We never restrain our birds. We never want them to make them feel like they're forced to be out here or forced to do anything they don't want to do. They have 100% power of choice 100% of the time, and they know that. I'm sure you guys can see our cleanup crew cactus runs coming out here and cleaning up part of the purchase for us. Kind of nice that they show up typically when the birds leave. Even though they're quick enough to get away from the guys, they still tend to show up afterward. So that training that we do with them is all positive reinforcement based. So they know if the crowd's too big, if it's too windy, if somebody gets crazy and jumps over the fence at them, there's nothing keeping them here. They can go home whenever they want. They get that freedom from day one. So it's the same concept. If you guys have ever fed ducks in a park, you might have seen kids running at those birds, trying to kick them, and yet they always come back. So that power of choice is a very, very strong thing. So it's why we can get an owl getting really close to you guys, just flying back and forth, and a red tail like this, sometimes soaring thousands of feet up into the sky. She's been about as high as probably 3,500 feet before, maybe a little bit higher than that. If you wonder what a red tail looks like that high, she disappears in 10 by 50 binoculars. She just kind of specks out and dissolves into the sky. She's only probably only 200, 300 feet up right now, not too high up there. We can see some really good red tail markings on her.